Hello there kids. My name is Victory and I am not gay.
Before we get going, I want to thank everyone who left a comment on the first video. Most of the cars on this list were requested by you guys in the comment section of part 1. I also want to thank Jack20051111 for being the most recent donor to the channel. Remember to help out all of your favorite YouTubers because of the adpocalypse. Believe it or not, one simple like really does help us out.
Count the 7 colors in a rainbow up above. I can share my 7 cookies or 7 apple pies while I read about Snow White and 7 little guys. No.
There'll be one thing on my mind. Oh, in the sun.
A G8 GXP was shown at the New York International Auto Show in March 2008. It came with a 6.2-liter 402 horsepower V8 from the Corvette and a 6-speed manual transmission. The production version of the GXP was more powerful, with its LS3 producing 415 horsepower and 415 pounds-feet of torque. The GXP reached 60 miles per hour from a standstill in 4.5 seconds. A quarter-mile time of 13 seconds at 109.6 miles per hour, and 0.9 grams of lateral acceleration on a skid pad. The GXP has an upgraded suspension package, as well as larger, ventilated Brembo disc brakes. It also features a unique front bumper and a rear, non-functional, diffuser to differentiate it from the standard sedan and GT models. Total sales of the Pontiac G8 GXP were 1,829 units. Only a limited production of 6 G8 GXP were available in Canada. In 2014, General Motors released the Chevrolet SS, which was in essence the next generation of the G8 GXP. It was based on the new VF chassis Holden Commodore, the successor to the V8 chassis Commodore on which the G8 was based. Both the G8 GXP and the SS shared the same LS3 V8 engine, with the new SS sporting the engine with minor improvements. Horsepower for both remained 415, with 415 pound-feet of torque.
6 chicks, 6 bricks, 6 hockey players with sticks, 6 legs, 6 eggs, 6 hats to hang on 6 pegs, 6 armadillos snoozing on pillows, 6 warthogs doing kung fu kicks.
Smoked out random. Haardtek.
The TVR Cerbera Speed 12, originally known as the Project 712, was a high-performance concept car designed by TVR in 1997. Based in part on then-current TVR hardware, the vehicle was intended to be both the world's highest performance road car and the basis for a GT1 class endurance racer. However, problems during its development, changing GT1 class regulations and the eventual decision that it was simply incapable of being used as a road car ended the idea, forcing TVR executives to abandon its development. The vehicle's engine, displacing 7.7 liters and having 12 cylinders, was reportedly capable of producing nearly 1,000 horsepower, although an exact measurement was never made. Nonetheless, its performance was said to be astonishing, and it may have been capable of hitting 60 miles per hour in the low 3-second range and have a top speed greater than that of the McLaren F1. It first appeared at the 1996 Birmingham Auto Show and dominated the show once it was unveiled, attracting more crowds than any other cars in the show. The number 7 referred to the 7.7-liter engine, and 12 for the number of cylinders in the engine. TVR said it would have over 800 bhp and be faster than the McLaren F1. The first concepts shown were based on in development FIA GT1 class race car that was current at that time. It would be restricted to a more modest 660 horsepower, but the weight would be kept at roughly 1,000 kilograms. The road car would weigh the same, but without the restrictors, the power was greatly increased. TVR officially said it had 800 horsepower, but the real figure was never properly recorded. It had a specially built 6-speed manual transmission and clutch. The engine was essentially two TVR AJP6 straight-six engines mated on a single crankshaft. Unusually for an automobile of its type, the Speed 12's engine block was not constructed of cast iron or aluminum alloy, but rather of steel. By 1998 the car had been renamed the TVR Speed 12 and their GT1 racer was almost ready to go. TVR wanted to race at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, but that never happened. However, the Speed 12 GTS did manage to compete in a few races in the FIA GT Championship in the GT1 class. Though sudden rule changes caused by advanced high-cost purpose-built racers such as Porsche 911 GT1, Nissan R390 and Toyota GT1 and the subsequent demise of the class in other championships suddenly rendered the Speed 12 obsolete, in order that their work not go to waste. TVR immediately set about creating the road-going Speed 12, although the project would not be completed for another year.
One shot, two shots, I'm drunk, who's not? I just wanna make you feel alive.
Simulation and testing at NASA's Virginia facility has shown the Ultimate Aero TT theoretically capable of attaining approximately 273 miles per hour, suffixed to production car record-holding Bugatti Veyron's 253.7 miles per hour, a 12-mile stretch of U.S. Route 93 in Nevada was closed on March 21, 2007 to allow SSC to test the Ultimate Aero TT, but the test driver, Victoria, reporting wheel spin at speeds above 190 miles per hour 6 months later. SSC had announced that they had established a new production car speed record of 256.18 miles per hour in West Richland, Bois on September 13, 2007. In accordance with FIA speed records rules, it was an average of 2 runs in opposite directions, 257.44 miles per hour and 254.91 mph. The results were verified by the Guinness World Records on October 9, 2007. SSC is currently one of only 26 automobile manufacturers in history to hold the record. SSC also applied to Guinness for the world. Its record was broken on July 4, 2010 by the Bugatti Veyron Supersport, which reached a certified top speed of 267.81 miles per hour.
Before you go, it's when our hearts get separated. Crash and burn is all I ever know. I can tell in a place this feeling. I close my eyes and it's you that I'm seeing. One more thing before you go.
The Fury, meaning sound of the wind, was the fifth and last of NAG-LA line of concept cars that have been made by Mazda since 2006. The chassis is based on the Courage Competition C65 Le Mans prototype that Mazda last competed in the American Le Mans Series 2 seasons ago and used to be used in E100 ethanol fuel. It was powered by a heavily modified 20B3 rotor Wankel engine that put out 450 brake horsepower. The engine was developed and built by renowned rotary tuner, Racing Beat, who also built the car's rotary-shaped muffler canister. In September 2013, it was revealed that the car was destroyed by fire during road tests by Top Gear in 2008. On November 29, 2013, Top Gear was given the opportunity to make the Fury's demise public. It was explained that the vehicle caught on fire during a photography session at Bentwaters Park on August 19, 2008. At 11:52 a.m., driver Mark Ticehurst was piloting the Fury when the engine caught fire while cresting a hill on the backside of the track. Ticehurst was able to escape the car before the fire spread to the cabin area. Due to the location of the accident, fire crews were initially unaware of the incident and took several minutes to reach the Fury. By this time, the car was completely engulfed in flames. The fire took about 8 minutes to extinguish, and the Fury was destroyed as a result. Although the car's remains were initially taken to Mazda's Advanced Design Studio in Irvine, California, the final location of the Fury's charred remains still unknown. Lotus Cars had previously been using the Lotus Esprit GT1, a racing version of their Lotus Esprit road car in the BPR Global GT series since its foundation in 1994. Competing in the Premier GT1 class against the likes of the McLaren F1 GTR, Venturi 600LM, Ferrari F40 GTE, and others. However, in 1997 the series became known as the FIA GT Championship, and manufacturer involvement was increased with the new international exposure. Porsche was the first to start a new breed of racing car in 1996, with their purpose-built homologation special known as the 911 GT1. This was quickly followed by announcement that Mercedes-Benz planned to do the same with their CLK GTR for 1997. Thus Lotus decided that in order to remain competitive in the GT1 class, let alone be victorious, they would be required to follow the route set forth by Porsches and Mercedes-Benz. However, aware that they lacked the resources available that Porsches and Mercedes had to create not only the race cars but also the production sports cars at a guaranteed loss of money for the company, Lotus decided to take an alternate route. Through interpretation of the rules for FIA GT, Lotus realized they would only need to build a single production car in order to meet homologation requirements. The car would not even need to be sold to a customer, it merely had to be built. With this in mind, Lotus turned to designing the racing car. Lotus decided to abandon the aged Esprit chassis and instead turned to its new sports car, the Elise. Mechanically, only the Elise's aluminum chassis was retained for the GT1, although it was heavily modified from its stock form. A new carbon fiber body that resembled the Elise was built, featuring a much longer length in order to increase the car's aerodynamic capabilities. For an engine, Lotus knew that the Elise's stock straight-four engine would not be able to compete, and so it was initially decided that the car would use the 3.5L V8 engine out of the old Esprit racing car, attached to a Hewland 6-speed sequential gearbox. However, testing showed that this engine was not as reliable as hoped. After installation in the production road car, the Lotus teams were left to decide whether or not to use the Lotus Turbo V8 or opt for a Chevrolet LT5 5.7L V8 engine from the Chevrolet Corvette ZR1, a car which Lotus had originally helped to develop when they had been owned by General Motors. Lotus further developed the LT5 by fitting it with a flat plane crankshaft for the Elise GT1 race car. With this, 7 Elise GT1 racing chassis were built, going to factory teams GT1 Lotus Racing, run by Fabien Giroir's First Racing, as well as privateers GBF UK and Martinvale Racing. The factory GT1 Lotus Racing team Audi revealed the details of the C7 RS6 in December 2012. Its 4.0 twin-turbo TFSI V8 engine developed the 553 bhp and 516 foot-pounds of torque. This will enable the RS6 Avant to accelerate from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.7 seconds. The top speed is limited to 155 miles per hour by default. By adding the optional Dynamic Plus package, this top speed is increased to respectively 190 miles per hour. Audi claims an average fuel consumption of 27 mpg US. In order to accomplish this, Audi has added a start-stop system and a cylinder-on-demand system. The RS6 Avant uses an 8-speed Tiptronic gearbox. One of the most famous RS7s is John Olsen's. As he built this DTM wide-body Audi RS6 C7 Avant that pushes 1,000 horsepower on race gas, this grocery getter will outperform its looks. Olsen's cars usually have a black spaceship-looking ski box made of 100% carbon fiber. Imagine that. This wide-body RS6 was designed by Koenigsegg's former chief engineer Leif Tuvesen and made from a 4x4 carbon fiber pattern. The E63 M6 is powered by the BMW S85 305 cubic inch V10 engine. Revving to 8,250 revolutions per minute, the engine produced 507 horsepower at 7,750 revolutions per minute and 383 foot-pounds at 6,100 revolutions per minute. The specific output of over 100 bhp per liter is amongst the highest of naturally aspirated production car engines. Most cars were sold with the 7-speed automated manual transmission known as the SMG3, however a 6-speed manual was also available in some markets. The M6's additional features compared with regular 6 Series range includes sports seats, a different instrument cluster, heads-up display, larger front and rear brakes, carbon fiber roof and quad exhausts. The front bumper, rear bumper and side sills are also different, to increase the volume of air intake and improve the aerodynamics. The M6 Coupe was introduced to the public in the 2005 Geneva International Motor Show, and the M6 Convertible was introduced at the 2006 British International Motor Show. A total of 9,087 M6 Coupe and 5,065 M6 convertibles were built, meaning that a total of 14,153 BMW E63 M6s were produced. The S85 has dual overhead camshafts with 4 valves per cylinder and variable valve timing on the intake and exhaust camshafts. The engine block and cylinder head are constructed from an aluminum alloy.